So this is the third movie I've listened to, and I've decided I got to do a video on this. And when I mean listen to, I'm at work, so not supposed to have your phone out, but I can use my phone. So I just put on these movies and I just listen and just use my imagination like I did when when you growing up and you had a cassette player. And something I started noticing the last few movies I was listening to, they all have to do with the nuclear war, right? Between the United States and Russia, and it's supposed to destroy most of the world. Everybody seems to, in these movies, they always end up seem to be living in Mexico now. And it's called like the wastelands and stuff like that. So, but I noticed something again, just like Hot Tub Time Machine, um, one where they go into the future. There's like no Afro-Asiatic people anymore in these movies, and this might be just be the director's take on it. They think it's gonna happen, but they're like that's really what's left. There's only a few scattered here and there. They're not the main. They're really not even. They don't have much to do with the storyline. They're not the antagonists, but they're not the hero, so to speak. So as I'm watching this and I'm listening to this stuff, I started noticing something too. One of the other ones, they had this Mother Mary type figure that came and rescued these women warriors that were left. Really, any of the men left were supposed to be like a few rebels, but they're hunted down and killed only because of they're a man. And it's like I'm listening and I'm like, wait a minute, if you're killing every man just because he's a man, don't isn't that weird? Like your hatred for the man now guarantees your complete gen- complete annihilation, depopulation, whatever you want to call it. It won't be, hey, but it's just a movie, so I'm just trying to, I'll try to rationalize this, right? So this one was really weird because there's a demigoddess, right? Or a demon, whichever one she is, that gets into the genetic field and designs a disease that attacks the Y chromosome. So it goes around killing all the males, and any man that's left is put in a containment, a camp, where the only purpose is collecting his seed to reproduce. And when they die, they die. If they get too old, they kill them. Things like that. So I'm listening to it, and it's really getting interesting, right? But then there's this one thing that started sticking to me. The whole theme of the movie is about this demigoddess who quote unquote creates a boy. She doesn't create because you already have the material, so you're not creating, you're making something, right? Creation means you literally had nothing and you made something or you created something. So you can't be the creator. You can only make things. But she makes this boy and she has to capture the boy, kill the boy, because the boy is her power source. Now I'm like, wait a minute. In a world where you don't need men, where you're killing off men because they're men, you know, all this, stuff. The power source, the source where she can, levitate herself or come like a vision to other people, and rescue women, these women warriors in times of need, and transport them out of the battlefield, is the very source that she hates. She needs the blood of a boy to be able to do all these things. But something stood out to me. I just finished watching these movies about the knights and all this stuff, and there's a part in this movie where the knights there, they're introducing their spirits, that come back from the past. They're introducing themselves, and one of them says, "I am so and so, the servant of the god of the eight-pointed star." And you're saying, what does that have to do with a demi mother goddess that comes back and all that stuff, right? And child sacrificing of young males. I'll show you because I had to look it up. Because Gangs of New York come to mind, right? Lex always told me to watch Gangs of New York, so I finally watched it, and that movie was loaded. And one of the lines I never got out of my head was, "Who controls the five-pointed star?" So I had to look that up, right? So who controls the eight-pointed star? This is the eight-pointed star, right? like I always just looked at it as a star. I never thought about it as being a star. You know, but there's that whole think of well, star, right? I mean, every time I draw, I had to look up who's the god of the eight-pointed star, and there it is. Then it starts to really make sense. Then it starts to really make sense, right? Because as much as the Catholics pretend that they're there for Jesus, I remember when I was growing up, the Christians and that I grew up with and around, they always have Guadalupe, all that stuff is supposed to be legit because the Catholic Church and these popes have said that Jesus will not fulfill his promises when he returns, but he'll be Mary. And man, in the time that we're going into where a woman shall encompass a man, right? Oh man, and you got the Moors, the mother goddess, Ruth the Moabitess, but and they never talk about any of their other gods, man. I know Ruth was not a god, but you know, just the whole pushing of the goddess, because I couldn't figure that out. Because I mean, I don't mind when you teach your stuff, but then all of a sudden, when it seems like everywhere you turn, it's this swell, it's this well that's rising up, and it's like, wait a minute, what's pushing it to the surface? What's going on? You know, like I look at the Me Too movement and I see it's a good thing. Like I see that the way that they attack situations, it wouldn't hurt that us being Shemitic, being the Afro-Asiatic Shemitic people, the Los Indios, as it was written in that New York, not New York, but the Los Angeles Times, God's people in God's land. We might be able to take some notes on how to get things accomplished. And when the Me Too movement calls out, you know, men for doing disgusting things, that's a good thing. Because you know what that gives those men? Shame. Where is your shame anymore, right? So that's a good thing. But when it starts to, when I notice it, when it's everywhere, and it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? You know, you got to ask, all right, what's pushing this? Where did this come from? Because you notice something, it's not a normal phenomenon. It's like Black Lives Matter. All of a sudden, where did it come from? And you start finding out, you know, who's backing it. And it's like, oh, that's why it got to where it is. So that's why I look at it like, oh, everywhere you turn, this and this and this. And now it makes sense. It's almost like it's preparing a way for her. One thing I took from it though, it seems like they are convinced, hell bent convinced that there is going to be a nuclear bomb in the future, a war between the United States and Russia with nuclear wars. And I know, Lexus taught us that. I know. But I'm just saying, even in the movies back then, they were putting in these movies. So how can people, that was alive then, that watch this stuff as entertainment, ignore the science today? I mean, come on, didn't the Russian quartet just do the whole thing? Sleeping Negroes sleep. You plan to bomb the United States with nuclear wars, but you address the song to the Negro in America? And you gotta ask yourself something too, because one time I sat and thought, oh, that was us. But knowing that they addressed the Caucasian African as a Negro at one point in time, now it's confusing. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to them? Who are you talking to? You know?